Hi, my name's Tyler, but some people call me Taz. I got into teaching so that I could teach biology at the high school level because I love animals, nature, and the adventure that comes along with it. Now I teach earth science because, well, that's what the job was. I also teach PE, and occasionally I'll help out with other content areas, such as music, homebrewing, and surfing. At the start of this past school year, in 2014, one of the first things I had my students fill out was a survey so I could get to know them not only as students, but also as people. I like to know what my students' strengths and interests are, as well as what their long-term goals are for when they leave high school. At the end of the survey, I asked my students two important things. First, draw your ideal vacation spot. This gives me insight into their happy place, and it lets me know what a relaxing environment means to them. The second question I ask is, if you could be any animal, what would you be and why? This facilitates my ability to really see the student in a more holistic view, especially when looking at a student's strengths and interests. One student claimed she would be a lion because she was a leader and her zodiac is Leo the lion. Another claimed he would want to be an eagle so he could fly. What I didn't expect was the llama. Her reasoning for wanting to be a llama was because they're really cool animals and they have really long necks. Fantastic justification. And I love asking the question of what animal you would be and why, because it can reveal a lot about a person. Personally, I would be a puffin because I like the idea of being comfortable in multiple types of environments, such as being on land, in the water, and in the air. And puffins do this all while looking really ridiculously good looking. So if we compile all this survey data, we have the leader of this group of animals as a puffin, which is by no means an apex predator, leading a few turtles, 3 wolves, 2 tigers, a snake, 2 pandas, an owl, 4 dogs, an eagle, the llama, 2 lions, and 1 cool guy. No, seriously, that was a student's answer to the survey question. 1 cool guy. Anyways, now we have this really weird combination of animals coming from completely different environments and wielding a wide range of different adaptations and experiences that they acquired in those environments. Now you might be thinking, that sounds like a zoo. Well, sometimes it felt like that, but I learned to see each of my students as having their own strengths and adaptations that they have acquired over their lifetimes as a result of those different environments. And this is where my biological metaphor breaks a little bit, but it does so in such a beautiful way. According to the theory of evolution proposed by Charles Darwin, organisms that are best suited to the environment will survive, reproduce, and adapt over generations. This scientifically accurate version of evolution requires a population over time. However, I see my students evolve as they acquire adaptations and skills over their individual lifetimes. Now, imagine a penguin in the desert. It would likely die. But now imagine the penguin can learn how to adapt to live in the desert from a camel. Then the penguin can survive in an environment it would otherwise be unable to survive in. Or it could learn how to build an icebox in a tree. Whatever floats your boat. This is similar to my own classroom. First, my students have to sharpen their own strengths, skills, and wit through individual practice. Then, after my students have gleaned some individual confidence, my students work together, and that is where I see the most development of their skills. Not just academic skills, but also social skills. When my students are working together, I see my students complement each other's skills and adaptations, and they help each other evolve into something stronger. One example of this story is a student who identified himself as a dog. He's very loving, caring, and quite extroverted. He seemed to get along with everyone. However, he did struggle a lot with reading and writing. My owl loved reading, but was quite introverted. She would work by herself, and when she could, she liked to have her own space. I noticed this, and I saw an opportunity for both of them to benefit from each other. So I grouped them together, and I loved what I saw. The dog taught the owl how to be more extroverted and open up to others, while the owl taught the dog how to focus on the content and readings that was required. It was, and still is, a beautiful friendship. Now, as the leader of my classroom, it is my responsibility to understand all of my students to the best of my ability so that I can help them grow and develop just as I mentioned. One way I believe I can do this is to gain experience in various skills in diverse environments because it gives me new perspective on the world and the life that lives in it. This helps me empathize with my students and their own unique life experience. But at the end of the day, I hope my students take home one key message from my class. Although we are all unique, we are all much more similar to each other than we are different. We're all living things on the same planet, dealing with changes in our environment, And together, we can help to strengthen each other so that we can all thrive. There is so much to experience and so much adventure to be had that it would be a shame if we didn't experience it with each other.